Well, hey ho, everybody. Welcome back to the Square the Circle Music channel. You're back here with me, your host, your pal, Aaron Major. That's right. Here in Western Oregon, we like to sit and spin records most of the year round until it gets nice and sunny and warm outside. Then we go outside for a swim. But while I'm not out there getting my fucking bald head burnt to a crisp, let's talk about circles and squares and music appreciation, record collecting, all that fun shit. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, something like that. I haven't done one of these in about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. I like to do those episodes that I call Tales from the Thrift, where I go around town for a week or so and I gather up a bunch of like lost, hidden gems that people have forgotten about, and I dust them off and, clean them up and make them sing to me. Yeah, I found some really great shit this time, guys. I didn't find any cassettes and I didn't find any CDs. That shit's getting real picked over because it's all the bargain, the real super bargain stuff now. We're having this kind of a CD revival. A lot of you folks in the vinyl community like to talk about that. And that shit's legit, man. CDs are back to being only $1 or $2. Most of the time they're clean as a whistle. Pretty cool. So I have found some really great selections recently, but nothing in the last week or so. But I do have a fat stack of LPs that I want to show you guys. I hope that's all right. Sit a spell, grab a cold drink, let's do that, shall we? Here we go. What's first? This one, I haven't ever seen this one, which is kind of crazy because they made quite a few albums, but they're usually just kind of like everywhere, and most people don't care for it, so they're everywhere. But this one I have never seen. Released on Polydor. I think they released a lot of their stuff that they were doing together on Polydor, but I'm not sure about that. But yeah, John Anderson, Evangelist. One of their many albums that they've made together, but this one called Private Collection, 1983. I've never seen this one, so I'm excited to dig into it and see if it has a little bit different of a sound or luster to it than their other works. Can sometimes be construed as a little bit kind of, what's a good word for it, I guess you could say. I don't know, a little bit frumpy, a little bit kind of like lofty, and a little bit pretentious, I guess you could say. But yeah, everyone's got to have a little taste of, pretension if they're going to be, mastermind musicians like these guys. So I don't know. I'm pretty stoked to check out something that I've never really heard before. So the late great Evangelist and John Anderson. That'll be fun. Okay, being a little bit of a hypocrite, guys, to a certain extent, I guess. I've said, and I've put myself out there, for all of you to kind of mock and throw things at me. And I've, been known to kind of just have an outward type of opinion, just a real kind of like, I don't know, just a bullshit opinion. A lot of people hate my opinion, but that's fine. And this is one of those that I've always just I've not cared for whatsoever, and people think I'm crazy. I don't give a shit about the king. And I didn't grow up on it, not from that era, so it is what it is. But I found a really beautiful, clean copy of something. I mean, it's called Something for Everybody, and so I'm like, fuck it, whatever, dude. I'll give it a shot. I'm sure I'll pick out some bits and pieces of this that I really do enjoy. It's a lot of stuff that he did in his, from his films, and just his kind of early to mid career. I'm assuming, what's that, like kind of mid 50s to mid 60s, basically. But yeah, should be pretty cool. No, it's probably earlier, huh? Because he was more, look at how young he was. This must have been closer to like kind of the mid 40s era. But yeah, I don't know a goddamn thing about him, so I'm gonna give it a shot. It was super duper clean, and yeah, I'll dig into it. Looked it up on Discogs. It's a little bit more uncommon, than the rest of his albums. So there's some Elvis in my collection, finally. This one I was wicked stoked about. I've never seen this either, especially not in bargain bins. Pretty cool. Paying the Cost to Be the Boss by none other than B.B. King, man. King of the blues his guitar, his voice, everything about it is just absolutely just magnificent. I love everything he does. Again, I've kind of, said oftentimes on my channel that I'm just really not a fan of blues rock. I mean, blues as a whole, especially not blues rock, like kind of run-of-the-mill bullshit blues rock, from the 60s, 70s, 80s. I'm just like, no thank you. I pass, super hard pass. But this is the kind of stuff that I can really I can get behind. This is definitely more my taste. Love me some B.B. King. So excited to get some time on the player for that one. This one, yeah, I don't know. The art was gorgeous. I love this photography that's on the cover, and it, it's a lot like many other silly things that I buy that are, instrumental piano music, soft jazz, stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff. Album called Impressions by André Gagnon. I'm assuming that's how he pronounces his name. I'm assuming he's French. The rest of everything on the album is in French, so it's a French pressing, or French Canadian, one of the two. André Gagnon, and there's lots of instrumentations on here with other people, guitar and flute, vibraphone, harmonica, but it's predominantly, I've only spun the first couple tracks on the A side, and it was really just icky sticky, really sappy, just piano music from the late 70s. Early 80s, 1983. But yeah, I'm sure there's more to it than just the first few tracks I listened to. So yeah, André Gagnon. Excited to kind of dig deeper into that. Here's one I bought just because of the cover art, because it's really super cheesy. And I'm sure, I don't know anything about it. I'm sure it's kind of just some bullshit blues rock, like I said, but I'm still opening myself to trying things that I wouldn't normally give two shits about. So, Don Felder did an album called Airborne. Looks probably like late 70s, early 80s maybe. I think that says 1983. Yeah, look at that cool cat. he just parachuted in. You guys ready to rock? Oh, there's his guitar. Hasn't landed yet, bro. Pretty cool. Yeah, Don Felder. This even got the font is that's like the Fender font, right? Isn't it? Fender. Isn't that that's a Stratocaster, right? I know a little bit. I know some things about, yeah, I think that's a Strat. I don't know that much about guitar, obviously, but this should be cool. Album called Airborne. Guitar rock, woo! Should be cool. This was in the same chunk of stuff when I was digging. I was like, yeah, some more really killer fucking art. Yeah, should be awesome. Look at that dude slaying his guitar. Fucking way cool. Album's called, the artist is called Hammer. I don't know anything about Hammer. Oh, that's the band name. There's, looks like the lead guy in the band, that guy. His name is Jan Hammer. That's Jan Hammer right there, killing it. I don't know anything about this. Should be fucking cool. Yeah, Asylum Records, 1979. Cool. Excited about that. I've seen this one before. Actually, I've had this in my collection long ago. I bought it in a big collection that I bought off the dude. And I was intrigued because I was like, oh, cool. This is Pacific Northwest stuff from Seattle. Mukilteo Music. Yeah, recorded in Seattle on Aerial Records. A band called Child. Fucking cool art. Yeah, you would think this is some kind of early, goth, maybe metal or punk or something, but no, I think I remember it being more just kind of ass rock, late 70s, just butt rock. But the art's fucking cool. And yeah, Pacific Northwest artists that are kind of more uncommon or unknown. Pretty cool. Cool find. Again, another one I have had before. I sold it years ago, and I don't recall ever actually sitting and listening to it before I sold it. So yeah, now I get to get intimate with it, which I'm really excited about, because I actually did, I grew up steeped in this type of you know, the theater and the arts and like cinema and just kind of like random stuff. My parents were like kind of like hippie nerds, you know, and so like I said, I've mentioned before, I grew up in community theaters and, you know, stuff like that. And this was the type of stuff that my parents raised us on, was like old timey movies and cinema and stuff like that. And we would sit around and watch the Marx Brothers movies like crazy. I fucking loved them. Duck Soup, Animal Crackers, Night at the Opera, all those. I mean, just absolutely monumental classics of cinema and comedy. Vaudevillian style, slapstick, stand-up style. This was the beginning. This was the beginning of it all. Groucho Marx was just, he is the ultimate godfather of modern day comedy. You know, he inspired Mel Brooks, and he inspired, you know, all the stand-up greats of today. You know, Andy Kaufman in the past, and then now, of course, you know, the new guys that were inspired by Andy Kaufman and whatever else. You know, this was the beginning of it. Pretty cool. I don't know, preaching the choir here, I know, because most of my viewership are all boomer generation guys, so everyone's like, oh God, stop going off about the fucking Marx Brothers. But maybe some of you young cats, or maybe even dudes from my generation, from Generation X, you know, the very icky, sticky, you know, drippy end of Generation X, maybe you don't know anything about this shit. And it's just fantastic. Love it. And this is all like, it's a double disc selections of like a bunch of different radio broadcasts, primarily radio broadcasts. Maybe some selections from their films, because they had a fuck ton of films too. They probably did like 15 or 16 films. Yeah, pretty cool. I'm really excited to really sit down, like kind of get enveloped in this and take it's just this time capsule, you know, this is a time machine. Pretty cool stuff. Harpo Marx, dude. There's nothing better than Harpo Marx silent comedy. The guy was an absolute genius. And all of these guys just like incredibly multi-talented. You could tell they like I said, grew up in vaudeville and the circus and stuff like that. So they really knew how to like make their comedy shine. Pretty amazing. Chico too, dude. Guy could play the piano like a freaking like a master. Like he was a master of the piano. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Going off about the Marx Brothers. Sorry, guys. Oh, here's a really cool one I don't know anything about. Everyone knows I don't know much, do I? But I really get excited when I come across this. Is like random Verve label jazz records. I'm assuming it's a jazz record. It's on the Verve label. Don't know anything about it. It's in magnificent condition. Again, nice thick 180 gram. Johnny Hodges and Wild Bill Davis did an album called Blue Rabbit. Art is really cool. It's in magnificent condition. It's a carrot in an inkwell, and they're writing with the carrot. I don't get it. I don't know. Should be cool. Yeah, Blue Rabbit. So I'm assuming just kind of jazz stuff, early 60s jazz. Should be fantastic. Can't wait to dig into it. Know a little bit about this dude. Some of what I, you know, from his 70s stuff is kind of cool. I like prog, you know, and I like kind of like new age, you know, spaced out, cool, ethereal type jazz fusion and stuff like that. But his breed of it is just a little, again, kind of a little bit more kind of on the weirdo, kind of a little bit too frumpy and nerdy for me sometimes. But how do you pronounce his name? Andreas Vollenweider? Is that what it is? Andreas Vollenweider. This one's called Dancing with the Lion. I've never seen this one again, and it's like way later, dude. It's like late 80s. This was pressed in Germany, I think. A lot of it is in German. I'm assuming that's where he comes from. Or maybe I'm misreading this and it's not German, it's something similar. But the name Andreas, that's a Scandinavian name, isn't it? Anyway, whatever, I'm just rambling now, but this should be cool. I like the imagery. Very, very early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s. It's in magnificent condition. There's homeboy right there. So I'm gonna give this one a shot and see if I haven't listened to it yet. See if it's any more, or maybe less kind of frumpy nerdy, like I said. So, yeah, check it out. harpist, right? Electronic harpist. Isn't that what he does? Yeah. Should be cool. All right, here's the really cool shit, guys. Man, I found another, little pocket of like some really great shit. A beautiful copy of Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions. I haven't had this for a few years. I've had it so many times. And I always like sell it at record shows and stuff, but I really got to hold on to it now because I'm just looking at it in this original pressing, textured, beautiful gatefolds, some of the most beautiful art. I fucking love this style of art. So magnificent. Didn't the same artist do maybe one or two covers for like Miles Davis and some other, I don't know, some other artists on the Tamla label? But this has got to be one of my favorites of his. It's got starts off with Too High, Living for the City, Golden Lady, Higher Ground. Fucking game over, dude. Yeah, this one's probably his greatest album of all time. Argue with me. Pretty excited to have that again. Always excited to have this one. Yeah, Breakfast in America by Supertramp. In fantastic condition. Yeah. A little bit of writing on the cover. Sometimes people put their initials on the cover, but it's still, overall, pretty damn good condition. Nice and clean. Some really great hits on this one. I like their sound, man. Out of all that kind of like prog adjacent, I guess you could say, there's fucking nothing progressive about this band, honestly, guys. I don't know why I even try anymore to pander to a lot of you fucking prog nuts and people that call these guys a progressive rock band, whatever. They just have a really cool, unique sound. That doesn't necessarily make them progressive in my book, but not a lot of people were doing this in 1977. These guys kind of remind me more of like a mashup between like Elton John and ELO. You know what I mean? And it just none of that is in a sense progressive in my opinion. But I love the Logical Song. I love Take the Long Way Home. These are great fucking songs. Cool band. So yeah, stoked to finally have this in my collection again. It's been a while. Here's one I have never seen in the wild. Like, that's not much of a stretch for a guy like me because I haven't been collecting for 45 years like a lot of you guys, but I have been digging for most of my life, even when I wasn't a huge collector and I didn't have like 500 records. I still, like, every time I would go to a junk store, I would instinctively flock toward the media section where there's inevitably some vinyl. And I've just never seen this anywhere. I don't honestly think I even knew that this album even existed, to tell you the truth. And it looks to be kind of like that cusp period when George Harrison was almost kind of like, I got my mind set on you, but he wasn't quite there. He was still kind of living the glory days of like the 60s and 70s. But that album by him, George Harrison, 33 1/3, I've never even heard of this album. So shows you what I know. Again, I don't know shit. I don't know much, really. What a fucking legend, dude. Look at this legend. What a cool motherfucker. I fucking love George Harrison. So I can't wait to dig into this album and discover it for literally the very first time. I know nothing about this era of George Harrison. This got to be like, what, 77 maybe? 1976. So only a couple years departed from his most popular work, right? But yeah, whatever. Excited about that. It's in great condition. Oh, we were just talking about these guys. Sorry, there's a fucking fly buzzing around. Ugh, summertime. Flies are out. How cool. Yeah, we were just talking about Jeff Lynne and his ELO. This being probably their most experimental album, their most celebrated, I think. Everybody's favorite, really. Yeah, but El Dorado's the shit by ELO. Yeah, epic, beautiful cover art. Super cool album. I haven't had this in my collection for a while. Original inner sleeve and everything. It's in really, really fantastic condition. Man, really scored. That's a big score. So what's that one song that's on this album? That really just like sappy one. Where is it? They're all fucking sappy. This is a really sappy album. Yeah, of course, I can't get it out of my head, but yeah, all of it. It's a really good album. Stoked to have that again. Okay, last one, guys. I'll leave you alone. This was the best find that I got. I almost shit my pants. It was like, what is that? It looked like it was a children's album. I thought it was like a goddamn, like the Smurfs album. You know what I mean? There was a bunch of those like children's albums about the Smurfs in the 70s. I see those all the time. That's what I thought this was at first. And then I was like, what the fuck? Pulled it out. It was in magnificent condition. Really, really cool. Some collection of Miles Davis, just like Volume 3, Archives of Jazz, Volume 3. All about Miles Davis. Look at that goofy, fun art. Beautiful colors. Oh my God, I love it. It's in magnificent condition. Yeah, $4. The junk store bin. Really cool. What is that label? What is it? AJ? I've never even seen it. Yeah, AJ Records in LA. Really cool. Early 70s, I'm assuming. Yeah, like I said, I know it's not really fantastic or rare or anything, but to come across something like this that is like in perfect condition. I just love the really fucking cool, goofy art. And of course, Miles Davis is the fucking shit. So yeah, that's all my junk store shit, guys. I found some really cool stuff this week, so thanks for hanging out with me. Short video, lucky you guys. You don't have to listen to me ramble forever. So I think I've got a few more interesting topics on the back burner. So this week you might see a little bit more of me than you've been used to. My kids like went away for a week, but then they came back to me for a week, or vice versa, because somebody got COVID in my daughter's pod, whatever. Yeah, so I'm kind of like free for the next few days, so you guys might see more of me. But in the meantime, keep them clean. Peace in the crease, motherfuckers. Love you all.